What is going on, everybody? Welcome to the IGN All-Star Community Podcast. This is episode 5 of the podcast. I'm one of your hosts, the epic Jake James Lugo, and with me I have my compatriot, Mr. Peter Lopez. Peter, my man, how you been?
Hey, what's up? What's up?
Dude, it's 2015.
Yeah, I was ready to start
New
this new
year.
Right, man.
Oh, yeah. So first episode of the new year, we're going to have to do this right. We're going to have to come out swinging. And just so happens for us, there's a bunch of big things to talk about for us to come out swinging.
Yes, sir.
For 2015. So let's dive right into it. This one's a doozy. So what's hot on IGN? So by the time you guys are listening to this, you already heard about the news. Greg, Colin, Nick, and Tim, they all quit IGN. They're actually now full-time going to be doing their actual video content and, you know, all their other types of Patreon stuff for Kind of Funny, which is like their website, like their new kind of like business, I guess you could say. But they're no longer employed at IGN. That's a big deal.
That's a blow to the stomach, man.
Yeah, it's like more like a kick to the nads, because let me tell you something, okay? I'm gonna, listeners, maybe you sympathize with this, because sometimes this probably happens to you, right? I decide, you know what, let me step away from my computer, let me unplug from the internet for like about 20 minutes, go to the bathroom, go do what I gotta do, come back feeling a sense of relief. I look on my computer and all of a sudden Greg and crew are no longer at IGN. I'm like, whoa! Whoa! Hold on a second, like... It was a shocker.
That's what I felt. That's exactly how I felt. I was at work and I was doing my normal thing I do, and when I seen that message in the chat, the All Stars chat, I almost dropped my phone.
I was like, "What?"
Insane.
At first, I thought it was a joke because I saw it on Twitter first. I'm like, "Nah, there's no way." Then I saw Brian Altano actually tweet about it because he said, "Yo, he wishes them luck with their Patreon stuff and Kind of Funny." I'm like, "Wait, back up." So I went to Greg Miller's actual name, and then I saw the video that he had posted up with all the guys on there, because they actually did a video on their Kind of Funny channel saying, "Hey, listen, we're kind of out of a job here at IGN. We're no longer working over there." I'm like, wow, like that's like completely from left field for me. And insane. The crazy part is they said that they were planning this already for a couple months.
Right. Yeah, like something like that. I mean, you can't just walk off of a job that's like cherry, Like they had, I don't know if they were billionaires, and God knows if they were, but like
I don't think they were balling like that.
But they had. I mean, from my perspective, they had it made. Like those guys were. They
had
stars,
a fun job,
Yeah, they had a fun job, and they just walked away from it, and. I just wish them the best of luck, man.
I mean, here's the thing. Like, we've both of us at this point, and again, I'm pretty sure most of you guys listening to this now have probably seen some of their videos, some of the stuff on their Twitch channel, on Kind of Funny on YouTube, and also on their actual website, Kind of Funny. I think it's kindoffunny.com, if I'm not mistaken. That they talked about, okay, what's their thought process, their reasoning for leaving IGN in order to do this venture, which... Greg and Colin, veterans of IGN at this point, they were there for almost 10 years, right, give or take. I think it was like 8 and change or 9 and change, something like that. And they've been there for a long time, and like they had a lot of stuff going for themselves. Again, senior editor of PlayStation content over there. Greg, a host of Up at Noon. They had a bunch of stuff, and again, going to all these different events, they kind of explained themselves that. They wanted to do other things. They had done so much stuff, and they didn't want to have the repetition of doing all the stuff of what they were doing at IGN. But now they could kind of like breathe a little bit, kind of take it to the next level with all the content that they're going to be producing for Kind of Funny.
Right, and to kind of put it into perspective for those who might not know, these individuals were working for basically a company, and they can only do so much. Outside of the company, and these guys got paid to talk about video games. However, they were only allowed to do that with IGN. So it kind of put a strain on what they really wanted to do and what they were really passionate about, which was the Game Over Greg show and all the other content which you can find on kindoffunny.com. But now they have that freedom to do whatever they want. They can talk about video games, they can talk about movies, they can do what they want to do now. The metaphorical leash is off, but they didn't leave in bad terms, and that's the important thing to take away from all this, is they're still cool with everybody at IGN. If you check their Twitter feed and watch the videos, you can tell that these guys left on good terms, and just I wish them all the best. I wish them all the luck in the world.
Definitely. I mean, it's not just Greg and Colin. It's also Nick Scarpino,
Right.
Tim Geddes. You know, those guys. I actually had the pleasure of meeting them all at New York Comic Con, which is awesome. A funny story, again, like I've told you before, and I've said on the podcast. I got my first old fashioned from Greg and Colin. Actually, really Colin, because he was the one who came up with the idea. Gave me my first old fashioned drink at a bar called First on First Ave,
Wow.
and it was really awesome. Probably one of my best convention experiences that I've ever had to this date.
Wow.
You know, it's cool, at least for me, because you know I'm there having a drink with one of my role models in the industry. You know, that kind of inspired me to take up writing. You know, about video games. You know, just putting my opinions about video games out there, but also just meeting Greg and the rest of the guys. They're just so cool, just fun to be around, and they're very gravitating, and they're very humble. That's the best thing, and we talked about it when they did that Podcast Beyond episode with Brian over at was it in Canada. They actually took a trip over there. They did the extra episode with Unicronus, which was pretty cool. And then, you know, to me, they're very humble and just really, they're not so I guess you could say arrogant as like you know a lot of other like YouTuber. Yeah, they're very down to earth like compared to a lot of other internet personalities, and they're very grateful for their fan base, which I think is is great. It's an awesome thing an awesome attitude to have like that. But you know, as a fan, it kind of sucks for me to see them go a little bit because, again, now it begs the question, what's next for IGN? You know, who takes the reins now for Podcast Beyond, or who takes the reins now for Up at Noon, or all the PlayStation content and such that's going on over there? And they kind of answered that a little bit. They said that they're still going to be doing Podcast Beyond, thank God.
Yeah.
You know, in a freelance kind of position, you know, because again, I'm a huge fan of Beyond. You're a huge fan of Beyond as well, from my understanding. So we definitely don't want to see that go. But then, you know, it just begs a whole bunch of other questions like, okay, what goes on with IGN? I mean, in your opinion, what happens next?
I mean, it's going to stay the same, but I think the question is how long is it going to stay the same? In terms of content, you're still going to get all the cool videos and Let's Plays and all that other jazz, but you know, these guys were huge personalities, and they're going to only want to do that for so long until Kind of Funny really goes into that direction where they want it to go. So as far as IGN's website goes, it's not going to change as far as content, but it's kind of like the personality is going to change. And you know, do you think that's going to shift the website in a different direction? You know, I mean, is that bad? Like we were talking before the podcast, and it's like, you know, replacing someone from the Tonight Show, you know, and putting someone else in there. It's you
getting rid of David Letterman. It's like, no.
You've been watching the show for 20-30 years, and all of a sudden you're putting in these new guys, and it's not necessarily the new guys' fault, but it's just not the same. So I mean, what do you think? Do you think it's going to be different?
Well, here's the thing. Number one, you know, they haven't hit that marquee of like 30 years of Podcast Beyond. That happens. That'd be pretty nuts. It's gonna be old man Greg Miller and old man Moriarty over there doing Podcast Beyond, conversation with Colin.
Oh man, gray beard.
That'd be hilarious. But
someone's bald.
But you know, for me as a fan, you know, again, they said they're gonna do Podcast Beyond as a freelance, you know, in a kind of like a freelance type of position or freelance, you know, status, which is cool because that they even said that's their baby. That's like Podcast Beyond would not be Podcast Beyond without Greg Miller, would not be the same without Colin Moriarty.
Sure.
You know, and even that podcast has gone through some changes here and there, which is fine. You know, we lost Ryan Clements, we lost Andrew Goldfarb, we lost all those guys, you know, because they went on to different ventures, which, you know, more power to them, which is amazing. I met Ryan Clements, and the guy is still cool. Like, he's got that funny, cool hairstyle. But anyway, I digress. Like, it's still going to be essentially that, and they're going to continue it however long they can continue it. Like, they love doing Podcast Beyond, which is awesome, because I know some personalities or just even some celebrities, like, they'll have something, some sort of content or some sort of thing that they do, and like they start to really kind of, you know, either they don't want to get typecast or they really kind of lose out the love for it, and over time, you know, as they continue to do it, it kind of just dwindles down, and then eventually it kind of rides off into the sunset in the worst possible way. But like, even if like Podcast Beyond was to go out like right now, just the way I think like they would handle it, and even, you know, with all these changes and stuff going on, I still think like they know exactly what they're doing. They could still give us like good content. As far as IGN is concerned, though, you know, to play a little bit of devil's advocate, you know, from some of the comments and stuff that I was reading, both on the videos and the stream chats and also on Twitter, a lot of people were saying for a time that guys like Greg and Colin were really the ones that were really being either the face or putting IGN out there the most that they could. Now that they're kind of gone at this point, you know, IGN doesn't really have that face or doesn't have that grouping of personalities to really kind of like, you know, be synonymous being put out in the spotlight with IGN. I mean, what do you think about that?
Yeah, I would actually have to agree with you. Every time I would go on IGN's website, it was always like an Up at Noon video. And how do you not laugh at Greg's face? No offense to Greg, but
and plus also he's on the IGN app for the PlayStation 4 app.
Right.
That him and Colin are on there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Man, I don't know. Honestly, I'm just kind of at loss of words. Just it's gonna be different. It's gonna be.
It's gonna feel very different.
It's gonna feel very different, but I don't know. It's.
I mean, I'm pretty sure
it's still hitting me.
Yeah, it's still we're reeling from the gut punch here, the kick in the nads. You know, we're still rolling around on the ground, but still, you know, that's what it felt like. You know, again, coming back from the bathroom to that type of news, it's like, come on, guys, you could give me a heads up. You know, wait. Could have told me, wait 5 more minutes. Don't go to the bathroom yet. We got some big news. But, you know, I'm pretty sure a lot of the guys over there, a lot of the people that are in charge and a lot of the people employed over there are going to, you know, figure out a good way, you know, what direction the site is going to go. Because it's still going to keep going, even without Greg and Colin and Tim and Nick, you know, as cool as they are. The site's still going to thrive. It's still going to be put out there. They have such a huge audience and such. And, you know, a lot of the guys, you know, that are leaving out, all 4 of them, they're all still... You know, they're still going to have that fan base that still goes to IGN, but still going to love Kind of Funny. Sure. That's still going to listen and come to IGN for Podcast Beyond. They're always going to be there because they've generated such a good, you know, loyal fan base, which I think is awesome.
Yeah, I know. I mean, I'm gonna go. It's like it's giving me more content now. I have another place to go, you know, and now other people will know because of their transition out of IGN. You know, it's opening a door up, it's closing a door, and it's opening up a door for.
And you know something? Others. It's also opening up a can of worms because now that they even came out and said that they weren't able to talk about a lot of more contemporary stuff or more you know recent stuff because they worked at IGN. You know, which is understandable. You know, you don't want to talk about games. Especially when you're either, you know, in that, you know, crazy editorial space like that.
Paid to talk about video games. Like.
Yeah, exactly. And also, you know, about other stuff, you know, because of time, like movies and such. Now they're able to do that. Now they're able to give us content every single day. Like, we're going to get Colin and Greg live every day at 11 a.m. Was it Pacific Standard Time, which I think is cool. It's like almost 1 o'clock over here in the East.
Well, I mean, do you think people are going to burn out on that? Like, they're going to OD on too much? Like Kind of Funny?
Here's the thing, and they even said it, and they even came out and like addressed that. Like they said that, you know, less is more, but the way that they're kind of setting up it, Colin kind of described, you know, Colin and Greg live as kind of like a sports show, you know, version or a sports show equivalent for a video game show, a video game talk show, which I think is great because he even mentions a couple like great sports shows that are like on ESPN, like Mike and Mike or Mike on Mike, stuff like that. If it's, you know, done in that same vein, which it looked like it was, they had the first episode today, like after all the announcement stuff went out and such. With that to me is pretty cool, and I don't mind just listening or even seeing Greg and Colin just talk about video games for like an hour or 2. That's fine. Again, to me, it reminds me again of Podcast Beyond. But even if they're like able to be a lot more loose and open about their opinions about stuff, to me, that's just a benefit to me as a fan, and that's awesome.
So do you think they would want to do both? Like, just from listening to you talk about that, I think it's great because that's more content for me to listen to when I'm doing something else. You know, I can listen to Podcast Beyond, and now I can listen to, you know, Game Over Greggy or, you know, the Colin and Greg, you know, whatever you were just saying.
Live. Colin Greg live.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, like, that's more content for us.
And they're streaming video games, too.
Right.
They're actually streaming gameplay.
But I mean, maybe I'm just overthinking it, but it's like I'm scared of overdosing on it.
No, you're totally right. You're totally right to feel like that. I think that's a concern that they touched on, you know, a little bit. You know, we're really going to see like how it goes down, you know, as we get into more, you know, from this point forward, because a lot of stuff they're still figuring out, a lot of stuff they're still ironing out and such. But I think it's a valid concern, you know, just for either fans or non-fans, because what's too much Greg and Colin, or what point is that too much of a good thing is always a bad thing, right? So I think as far as like doing all this stuff and then obviously doing Podcast Beyond, you know, as freelance and stuff, maybe it might be a little bit much more than what we're used to. You know, we'll see how it goes over time. But for me as a fan, I think it's a cool thing.
Yeah. Yeah, me too. Like I said, it was like you say, it's a kick to the nads, but still, I mean, it's still something cool and something people should check out. And for what they're getting from other people, the support from everybody and from Patreon,
massive support.
And, yeah, I mean, it's like in their shoes, it's kind of a no-brainer. Like, why not? You know, we have so much support. It's something that they obviously want to do. So more power to them.
Exactly. So it's pretty awesome. I think it's a great thing. So more power to him. You know, good luck, Greg, Colin, Nick, Tim.
Good luck.
Hope you guys hit the ground running real hard, speeding fast like Sonic the Hedgehog. And I hope to see you guys. I know they're going to PAX East, so I'm gonna see them hopefully at PAX East. I get over there, probably give them a nice high five.
And there you go.
It'd be pretty sweet.
Give them a panda
Hope to
hug.
see you guys. Give him a panda hug, yeah. I'm gonna give Greg the panda hug because he seems more kind of like the big bear guy. So he gives like big bear hugs. Just don't squeeze me too much and kill me, Greg. For God's sakes, don't do it. But either way, wish the best of luck to you guys. Hope to see you guys again real soon.
Good luck, guys.
Yeah, but besides that, some other stuff that's hot on IGN.
Woo.
You know, some other cool, interesting news. PlayStation Network, Sony's giving everybody 5 extra days of PlayStation Plus and a 10% cart discount on the PlayStation Store for everybody that was affected by the little blackout that happened on Christmas.
Right. Do you think that's good enough for the individuals who were affected by the outage?
It's exactly like how I said when we first mentioned it last episode, about what Sony should do. I think it's great to give everybody, a couple extra, a little bit extra time for PlayStation Plus to experience that, because I'm pretty sure a lot of people at Christmas wanted to play most of their games online. They couldn't. That's just the reality of the situation, dealing with the whole Lizard Gang thing and stuff. But I don't think anything much more than that. I think might be a little bit out of, unreasonable? I think this is just right.
Yeah.
I mean, it was 1 day. It was 1 day. And plus, whatever you're going to buy on PlayStation Store, it's the whole cart that's getting 10% off. So you're getting a pretty decent discount, like if you go get like different games off the PlayStation Network, especially with all the flash sale stuff that's been going on, that they extended the holiday sale stuff on a lot of the items on PlayStation Store. That's pretty awesome.
Yeah, I mean, you can't really beat that. Like when you think about it, if you buy like, I don't know, is it 3 games, it's over $150, where you're saving $15 right there, on that purchase. So you can't really beat that. And I had thought about it after we had talked about it before, maybe giving out free games for this may seem a little like it's overdoing it a little bit. So I
overbearing.
I would agree with you on this one. I feel like this was just right. It was enough to say, I'm sorry, here's the days that you had missed back, and why not get a little discount on your entire purchase? So if you're gonna spend that coupon, like, make sure you spend it on something that's like $50 or $60. Yeah, something that's awesome, because you're gonna
go buy Journey.
$5 or $6 instead of saving 10 cents off of a $10 game or something.
Definitely.
Make it stretch.
It makes sense. I mean, it just shows that, Sony pays attention. Sony does care about their customers, which is great, which is awesome, like that. And on top of that, we just got the brand new PlayStation Plus perks now. So that extra couple of days, you get to download all these extra games before you renew your Plus and try a whole bunch of new little different titles you probably never dived into.
Yeah.
Which is great. But also, in addition to that, just like another quick fire here, just to mention, the PlayStation Now catalog and pricing has kind of been announced.
Oh, right, yeah. So I guess from what I was reading all over the web, I guess 1 month of PlayStation Now is $20, but if you would like 3 months, it's $45. So $20 a month seems a lot for a 1 month subscription. However, when you think about what you're getting, from what they were pitching, it's like an unlimited source of PlayStation 3 games, PS4 games. I think it's Vita games on those platforms, and it works also with maybe smartphones and tablets. But I mean, $20, man, that's kind of pricey for 1 month. Either I'm cheap, or it's just I don't get it. I mean, do you think $20 is good enough, like a good price for 1 month of content?
Yeah, I mean, here's the thing. It's supposed to be kind of pitched kind of like the Netflix of video games,
right,
where you have access to all these games, however long that you want, be able to play them, both recent catalog and I think also past catalog, or vice versa, something like that. If it has a large catalog to pull from and actually play, especially like more retro stuff like PlayStation 1 and PlayStation 2 games and such, that's cool. That's great, because then you have this huge catalog of games that, might be a little bit older that you could still dive into. If it has more recent titles and, you get all that trophy support and such, more power to you. I'm down for it, whatnot. But I still think like maybe they have to have a year subscription model, kind of like what Netflix or even like what PlayStation Plus does now, and kind of be a little bit much more reasonable on the pricing, because $20 for like, what was it, $20 for a month, or like $50 for 3 months?
But if you think about it, if you're throwing in a year, 3 months is $45. Just add another 9 months on top of that.
That's a lot of money, yeah.
$100, you know.
I know, and even then, it's just that it's kind of questionable. And I can understand from the economic man's point of view. From that guy's point of view, it's like, okay, I could either pay for a whole year of PlayStation Plus and get new games every single month that are pre-selected, and be able to play those as much as I want as long as I have PlayStation Plus, or do I pay that same amount for 3 months of all these catalogs of games that are probably going to be more backlogged than anything else?
Man. And yeah, you know what? That's the thing too, right? What if you bought the subscription and you do nothing with it? Like
exactly.
Average Joe gamer, like myself, I have a very terrible looking backlog of video games that I'm probably never gonna like get around to play. Imagine buying something like a year subscription to PlayStation Now. It's oh, man.
I mean, here's the thing. It's better than what the pricing like talk was before, because the pricing talk before was a little bit ridiculous. But you know, they're working out the kinks, and I think they're getting to that sweet spot. But I think that maybe after seeing this in the wilds for a little bit longer, or maybe actually, you know, for like a month or two, and actually seeing the numbers, then we'll get a better idea of like how good this actual idea is.
I think they need to have what you were saying. They need to have these really amazing AAA titles, new titles, Far Cry 4, you know, all the games that came out just this year on that catalog, because they're not going to sell, you know, subscriptions for PS1 classics. And I mean, granted, there are really cool PS1 classics, but I mean, come on, you know
how they'll get them with PS1 or PS2 classics if they give them all trophy support. But you know what?
Yeah,
they will not do it.
No,
they won't do it.
Idea though. If they had that on there, I mean, that kind of sold me on it. I mean,
heck yeah, I'd be in too.
Like that, just those little tiny tangible things might change someone's buying decision.
I think it's a big deal. I think you know, it would get a lot of people, especially the trophy hunters and such, just to come back and actually do that. But still, it comes back to, okay, the economic man, like what's the most for my value? And I think that, you know, if this is the pricing that's like they're really gonna stick to, and like the layout and like the options of what you have, I think more people will just stick with PlayStation Plus. I think that not a lot of people will jump on PlayStation Now and just stick with Plus, because again, you have to pay for PlayStation Plus anyway to play online with your PlayStation 4, and you're going to get all those games that change every single month. You know, there has to be much more of a pull for people to jump into PlayStation Now.
Well, so what do you think then? What do you think the price should be on PlayStation Now, if not $20? And do you think they should implement the two, integrate the two together into one service where you have PlayStation Now and you have PlayStation Plus?
I think they should. I don't know how they would do that. There are probably a lot more smarter men that work over there at Sony than me that know how to make that work. But I would definitely be down for that. And also, $20 for a month, I don't know, because
what would you
here's
pay?
The thing. I that's the thing. I really don't know, because it really depends on how much you value, like, again, past games, or again, I don't think they even really confirmed like more modern releases, more contemporary releases with it. If it was all newer games from the get-go like that, then that'll be a totally different conversation. But if it's just the backlog of like classic titles and such, then I think that if you're more of a retro type of person and you only play games casually and you're not so much diving into like the more newer stuff on day one, then that might be much more of a better value for you. But $20 per month, granted, we all pay for Netflix, which is like $8 to $10 a month, give or take. You know, it depends. I really don't know. I don't think I'm even the one person qualified to answer that.
I say 15. That's what I would personally pay for.
10 to 15?
Yeah,
maybe?
10 to 15, because just like you said, Netflix, you're paying $8 to $10 a month for streaming video, and then there's Amazon Prime and all these other streaming services, and all those guys have that, you know, $10 to $15 price range. But when you think about it, though, you are streaming video games this time, which is a different piece of content when you compare it to like videos and music. So maybe $20 is what everybody's thinking that's a developer, and maybe they want to jump on this kind of thing, you know.
It could be any number of reasons. I really don't know. I mean, like I said, there are probably a lot more smarter guys over there than us that are figuring this out.
What the listeners think. What do you guys think the price should be on PlayStation Now service? You know, it's obviously it's $20 to freaking $45, but I mean, what would your price be? What do you guys think is reasonable for that kind of service?
Let us know, guys. Write us into allstarpod@hotmail.com or send us a tweet at allstarpod on Twitter. Let us know what you guys think of PlayStation Now. But with that being said, though, okay, let's talk about the big topic for today. Outside of all the crazy news gut-punching, nut-punching, news that we've been getting. Let's talk about our gaming goals for 2015. Mm-hmm. So it's 2015. It's a brand new year, new times, new horizons. All the stuff from last year is gone. It's over with. It's finished. We closed the book and threw away the key. Let's talk about 2015. What are some of your goals for 2015, Peter?
I really just have one when it comes to video games. It's finish them. I have to record myself saying this, and I have to play it back when I buy a new game. I have to finish every game that I purchase because, man, I've bought way too many and they just sit in the corner and collect dust. I can't do that anymore. So for me, my main goal in 2015 when it comes to video games is finish them. Stop wasting money.
I'm with you on that one. I'm kind of a similar mindset. I suffer, much like just about everybody suffers, that we don't finish games. Mm-hmm. We get a bunch of games, especially towards the end of the year. Like last year, there was all these great games on all 3 platforms coming out, and we hardly ever finished them. Throughout the course of the year, you'll maybe finish maybe close to about 10 out of all the releases in the entire year. And then like all the releases in that 4th quarter and such, you'll maybe get through like 2 or 3. Mm-hmm. Especially because a lot of the games, especially last year, this year that just passed, a lot of the experiences are like 30+ hour games, or like games that you can't really finish. So freaking long. Like a lot of RPGs, especially Kingdom Hearts 2.5 came out for me. That was a big deal for me, and I'm a big Kingdom Hearts fan. And then you got Smash Brothers, then you got Bayonetta 2, then you got Dragon Age Inquisition, then you got Master Chief Collection. It's like, ugh. They're so good, but there's so many.
Yeah, there's so many games, man. Too many games. And we haven't finished those yet, and we're already jumping into a new year.
Yeah, and then come spring, then we got more games coming out, because I know a lot of you guys that got a 3DS or a Wii U are going to get Star Fox Wii U, and probably Majora's Mask. Majora's Mask 3DS, if not also Xenoblade Chronicles, which is another 30+ hour RPG that you'll be playing on your new 3DS model and such. But, another thing that I also have as a gaming goal for this year for me is that I want to diversify my palette a little bit. I'm a big RPG gamer. I'm a big fighting game player. I'm a big action RPG and, action, role-playing, and adventure game, type of player. And I want to kind of dive into other nuances of different genres. Specifically, stuff that are a little bit my weakness and kind of stuff I've strayed away from, like, strategy RPGs, or even strategic type of games, tactical games and such. It's kind of funny, too, because I say that, and then I'll go play a game like StarCraft 2, randomly, just on a whim. Like, if it's there and I have the opportunity to, I will. Or, like, Halo Wars, something like that. I want to dive in and kind of, get my feet and my hands dirty a little bit as far as like different aspects of different parts of these genres that I never really experienced before, or I've kind of strayed away from. Like, for another example, first-person shooters. There's some first-person shooters that I haven't liked in the past, or I haven't really kind of dived into and cared to do so, if not for time reasons, that I actually want to check out, like Far Cry. In the past, I actually did not like Far Cry, believe it or not.
I didn't like it either.
It never clicked with me, but I hear a lot of things about Far Cry 3, Far Cry 3 Blood Dragon, and then obviously Far Cry 4. So hopefully whenever I get the opportunity to, I want to check those out.
Yeah, I think if I was to dip my toes into a different genre, it would be either MMOs or the card-based video games. I grew up playing, Pokemon, the card game, and Magic the Gathering, and I never really played those video games. I don't understand why. I loved them. Growing up as a kid and playing cards at recess or something, or lunch. but yeah, I've never really got into those games through the Xbox Live or so on and so forth. I played a little bit of Hearthstone, but I never really immersed myself deeply into it, and it's another one I guess I can get back into, or at least learn. So
definitely
I'd probably play those. Yeah, I think that'd be my different cup of joe.
Definitely, man. And then also, as a little side note, even though I do a lot of it throughout the year, I want to do it even more. Play more games with friends. Play more games, multiplayer and stuff with friends. Because now that Smash Brothers Wii U is out and the gates have been open and things like that, I know when I go to a lot more cons down here in Florida or around the U.S. and such, that game's going to be everywhere. Everybody's going to be playing Smash. You're going to be settling in and smashing your 3DS wherever you go, even at the airport and such. So that's a big thing for me. I also want to play Mario Kart 8 because I only played a little bit of it. I actually want to play more of it now that I have a Wii U.
Me too, yeah.
I need to play more of that game because that game should have been in talks for Game of the Year for some people. I know a lot of people got caught up on Dragon Age Inquisition, Bayonetta 2, Hearthstone, and all this other stuff, but Mario Kart was one of those games that knew what it wanted to be and just was like straight up fun. It was that traditional Nintendo style game that it's just pure fun.
Yeah, when I first got my Wii U in June of 2014, I didn't really play it. Like I got Wind Waker. I got the Wind Waker bundle, and I tried out Wind Waker for a while, and then I just put it down. And
that's another one I want to play.
Once Mario Kart 8 came out, I was like addicted to that video game. My wife and I would play it literally every day, and we wouldn't put it down for hours. And it's certainly a reason to own a Wii U if you don't already have one, and if you haven't played it yet, shame. Play more.
And plus, they got DLC.
Now
they got DLC for Link and Amiibo support. Amiibo support. By the way, fun fact: I just bought an Amiibo not too long ago.
Who'd you buy?
I got a Link Amiibo.
Oh, right on.
And I got him to level 50 on Super Smash Brothers.
Ooh.
So and it's the Fierce Deity skin from Majora's Mask. So he looks even more awesome. He's like, okay, so he's level 50. He's ready to roll. And by the way, it's kind of sad, I will say, when you're actually trying to level up your Amiibo, and all of a sudden, like, your Amiibo's beating the crap out of you more so than how you're trying to beat the crap out of it. It's just like, it makes you look bad. It makes you feel bad. It's like, man, I got to get my game up.
Do you have, like, the Amiibo bug yet? Like, are you running out and calling GameStops and Toys R Us's for Amiibos?
No, because I got, unlike Brian Altano over there and Jose, you know, on IGN, I actually got a grasp on it because I actually wanted a Martha Amiibo. And, like, before I could even get the ability to actually go out and buy it, it was already out of print. And I was like, man, I got really bummed out about that. And I really almost offended because the Amiibos hadn't been out for, like, maybe 3 weeks. Not even. And now, all of a sudden, like, 3 of the Amiibos are gone. It's like, okay, how's that fair?
Yeah.
Like,
I mean,
it's annoying.
I know I'm going to sound like I'm contradicting myself because I believe in a few episodes. I think it was the episode
we talked about it before.
I said I hated Amiibos. I didn't want an Amiibo. But I'm not going to lie. I might want to get a Lucario and Mega Man Amiibo. I don't know if I'm
I want a Mega Man Amiibo.
I don't know if I'm going to use them, but I definitely want one. At least to just put on like my work desk.
I want a Mega Man Amiibo. Like that's going to be probably the next and the last Amiibo I get because I also wanted Little Mac for a time. I was like, you know what? Let me pick and choose my battles. Yeah. Let me pick and choose my battles here because I like Mega Man. I'm actually a Mega Man X fan, but like since they don't have a Mega Man X Amiibo, I'll settle for that one.
That'd be awesome.
And it'd be pretty sweet, yeah. But I'll deal with that, and just that'll be it for me because I'm not gonna go crazy collecting all the Amiibos after hearing like, okay, now at this point to get the Martha Amiibo you got to spend like $80 off of eBay or Amazon. It's like, nah, that ain't gonna work.
All right, I'm putting you on record then. As of today of this recording, you are not gonna go crazy on Amiibos.
About another 5-6 episodes saying, hey, guess what, guys? I just went and I sold my house to get this Amiibo here to get the villager. Be like, man, I feel bad for those guys. But still, Amiibos are a really big thing. Amiibos and all that stuff. PlayStation Network is a big thing. However, Peter, it's about that time.
Yeah, it's about that time, buddy.
It's about time for the IGN Community Spotlight. So tell me, Peter, who's this week's Community Spotlight?
Okay, so I might get some grief for saying this wrong, but it's Angel Vargas.
Angel Vargas.
I do not know how to say
That's how we're gonna say it. That's how we're gonna say his name right here. You've been officially dubbed Angel Vargas.
Yeah, he or her. Congratulations for hitting the IGN Community Spotlight, and you can definitely check him or her on the IGN website. He or she.
He or she. It's like an anime character. It could be he or she.
I don't want to say it. I feel like that'd be wrong.
It, like cousin it.
But this person, we can just say that. So this person wrote a recent blog post about their Game of the Year, which I don't want to spoil it. I think Game of the Year stuff should definitely be looked at. So if you guys should definitely check out this person on IGN. And you can also check this person out on the PlayStation Network. It's the same name. It's EINYEL Vargas. And they also have a Wii U and a Steam account. So definitely check them out. Show them some love.
Very, very nice. They're over there talking Game of the Year. They're playing a lot of games and such. But that's pretty cool. They're the first IGN Community Spotlight member here of the new year for 2015.
Yeah, congratulations.
Yeah. So they could say it's like being that guy on a YouTube video that says first. Mm-hmm. But like this one's just like a complete and utter bragging rights because they're the first one of the year. Like nobody will take that away from them. The only person that may come close is the last one of the year. Like at the end of 2015, we look towards this, and then we get the last IGN Community Spotlight guy. That'd be pretty fun.
So congratulations, Ángel Vargas.
Ángel Vargas. Let's hope that the last IGN Community Spotlight member of the year has as cool as a name as that.
Let's hope so.
Get say it with a cool accent and such. but either way, with that being said, we got a little bit of house cleaning to take care of, Peter. We gotta get serious. Yeah. We gotta get important stuff to take care of because we've chosen a winner to the Tomb Raider figurine giveaway that we were doing here. We did, yes. And the actual winner of the Tomb Raider figure actually goes to Caleb now.
Yay.
You know, he sent in not only a question, you know, for the contest and such, but he sent multiple questions, which is actually pretty cool. So we'll get to the both, but let me first tackle on the question that actually had him win the actual contest. His question here, he wrote into allstarpod@hotmail.com, just like you guys can. What is the strangest game you have ever played? Games like Octodad and Surgeon Simulator, where it's so bizarre that you seem to love it. Caleb, now. So, what's the strangest game you ever played, Peter?
Man, geez, the strangest game I've ever played. I don't really like to go outside of my comfort zone, so I'm going to have to say Constant C, which was a video game I reviewed for the Xbox 360. It was just a basic platformer, but what made it weird for me, and it's not like strange where, you know, grotesque individuals are walking around with like no clothes on and stuff like that, but it was just strange because the atmosphere made it strange. You know, you're manipulating gravity, and you had to do that in order to traverse through the stage, and just little things like that really hit home for me. That's what really defines a gaming experience, and it was strange. I've never really played a game like that before, so I'm gonna have to say Constant C.
Yeah. Interesting. Well, for me, you know, I played a lot of different video games, probably too many to some regard for some people, but you know, there's been a wide variety of weird games I've played over the years. Like you could mention games like Earthworm Jim, which is just weird, just all over the place. Like it's not even the premise of Earthworm Jim himself; it's the premise of the rest of the game. Like there's a level where I guess you get shrunk down to size, and you're like running around on beef, and like you got a salt shaker chasing you, and you got all these forks and utensils trying to kill you, followed by you're fighting egg omelets that are coming at you and toast. It's like what? And then randomly, in between each level, there's a cow that says, "Well done." You remember the cows, Peter? Like, the cow's just there. Just, like, you know, to greet you at the end of each level. I was like, who is... And then you know something. Fun fact, Tommy Tallarico, who does a lot of video game music stuff for Video Games Live, actually worked on that game. If I ever meet him one day, I'm going to be like, yo, Tommy, what's up with the cows? Like, where'd you get the cows from?
I don't know if it was Earthworm Jim 1 or Earthworm Jim 2, but I remember having to save puppies before they splattered on the floor.
Oh, yeah, that was Earthworm Jim 1. I remember that. Yeah. Oh, that was red. And then if you did do it right, the puppy that was helping you out turned into like a giant one and beat the crap out of you. Oh my God, that was weird. But... if I had that's a weird game. If I have to choose a really weird game that's like the most weirdest game I've ever played, would be Naughty Bear. And specifically because Naughty Bear is the one game that I was played and I got so like, you know, not comfortable with it, not wanting to play it as much because it was so weird and like out there, I wanted to stop playing it. Like that's the first ever game legitimately I ever wanted to stop playing because, you know, you have all the like crazy like stealth murder stuff in the guise of like, you know, these different teddy bears. It's like the Teletubbies trying to kill each other. Wow. That's like what it is. It was just really, it was uncomfortable. It was really like the only game that I could really think of that made me feel uncomfortable to play it. Jeez. Because it wasn't fun at some point. Like I don't even remember at what point it actually stopped being fun. I can remember just not feeling good like playing through it where the game was like actively encouraging you to kill like all these bears. And I say that with like a caution type of attitude because we play a bunch of video games where, you know, you kill like hundreds of thousands of people, like genocide, like craziness and such. But like this one, it just did not sit well with me. Maybe it's because I got to think for bears.
I guess so.
Or, you know, teddy bears and such. But it was so weird, that feeling playing that. I was like, no, I'm done.
Wow.
I'm good.
Jeez.
That's just, I just didn't want to play it. It's just like,
It was that bad. Is it one of those video games where it's that bad it's good, or it was just bad?
It was just bad.
It was like a bad game. game.
I mean, there's that B movie level type of game or experience where you guys like, yo, this is so terrible. It's like it's awesome. Like, and I get a little bit of that from Far Cry Blood Dragon. I mean, granted, that game's not bad at all. It's just like a total '80s nod. It's so weird, but it has like all the cheesy '80s puns and all the '80s like nuances and such that were like so tongue-in-cheek bad that they made them awesome. You know what I mean? Like that same type of level idea. Like then there's other games like, you know, I'm trying to think off the top of my head, like Five Nights at Freddy's. Like Five Nights at Freddy's, you know, the premise of it is kind of like a stupid game, but it's so ridiculous that it's actually good. You know what I mean? Like I know some people may not say that, but yeah, I know, right? It's so out there. But with that being said, you know, congrats, Caleb, you know, on winning the Tomb Raider figure. We'll get that out to you. He sent us, you know, his address, which is cool, so we'll get that out to you very soon. Be awesome. But he wasn't the only person that wrote into us. We actually got some more listener mail, which is pretty cool. With that being said, here's the first other listener mail of 2015. You ready, Peter?
I'm ready.
All right, here we go. So this one comes from Antonio Salazar. He goes, "Hi, guys. I've been listening to the podcast from the beginning, and I love it."
Yeah,
oh, thank you, Antonio.
Thank you.
That's what I'm talking
Very
about.
nice.
So he goes, "My question is regarding the announcement of the $250 Halo 5 limited edition bundle. Do you think that price is fair, seeing that we don't even know what it comes with? When it comes to reserving games, do you feel gamers are getting the most bang for their buck? Any thoughts and comments would be appreciated. Thanks, the Mapped Out Gamer." So, $250 Halo 5 limited edition. That's like industrial strength collector's legendary edition for Halo 5 users, okay? So, granted, you know, I bought the legendary edition for Halo 3 that came with the actual helmet, and I'm willing to drop money on an actual collector's edition, you know, if I'm a big fan. Like, the only time I could say that I did not do it, and I'm a huge fan of the franchise, was Kingdom Hearts 2.5. That was like $99. It came with the little Heartless plushie, and that just came at a bad time, and I just wasn't able to do so. But like, if I'm able to do so, I will drop money on a collector's edition. But do you think $250 is a little bit of a steep price point?
Yeah, like, I mean, everybody just take a minute and think about it. We're paying $250 for video games now.
For a video game. One game.
I mean, like, honestly, for what they're offering, I think it's a statue, and they haven't announced, or maybe they have announced the digital content that you get. I believe it's a weapon skin and possibly an emblem, but even then, just those little things, I don't think it's worth it. Statue, okay, I understand that, because it's something you can place somewhere in your house, and it looks cool, and you can show it off when your buddies go over. But that's pretty much about it. So I would think it'd be worth it for me if I got like a pretty sweet like art book, a soundtrack, you know, the video game, the statue, and then on top of the digital content, like the weapon skins and the emblems and all that other stuff. I don't know, man. $250. It sounds a lot. That's almost an Xbox One. That's $50 away from purchasing a freaking Wii U.
Yeah,
a game console.
And arguably, I go with the Wii U. That's just me, though.
For sure,
you know,
me too. Yeah.
With that being said, though, I think that, you know, some of the, you know, it goes back to, okay, what makes a good collector's edition, and what makes it, like, you know, valid, and what makes it, you know, worth, you know, diving into, spending that money on a series or a franchise or whatever. Like, there's been some good collector's editions, don't get me wrong. Like, the Assassin's Creed 2 one was awesome. The Bioshock 1 collector's edition was awesome, because these came with figures.
Yeah.
Even the Batman collection was a collector's edition for most of the Rocksteady games. Came with, like, really cool statues and such. But where I really kind of, like, you know, really, you know, get caught up on collector's editions and what really makes them special is that when they're bundles that actually reward fans for being fans. And I think that's the best thing about them. Like, okay, if you give them like a statue, if you give them a bunch of digital content and such, you give them other incentives for like actually being a fan of that series and actually a big thank you to them, then that's awesome. But when it starts getting like, again, like this, it's like $250 where you're paying almost as much as like a console. Yeah. And, you know, again, we don't even, like he said, we don't even know what comes in that collection now at this point.
Yeah, but I mean, look at all the other collector's editions that have came out. Like, I feel developers are at that point where they can get away with murder. I mean, I used to work at a video game store, and you know, I used to see these things all the time, and I mean, the only thing the customer is going to get is the statue, digital content, and that's it. Like, guys, we don't even get, you know, instruction booklets with our video games anymore, you know.
And that brings me back to the Kingdom Hearts 2.5 one that came out not so long ago. Like, it comes with an art book for Kingdom Hearts 2. Again, if you're into Final Fantasy and Tetsuya Nomura's work, you know, it's a big deal. You get a Heartless plushie, which it could be kind of like the equivalent of the statue, like most of these collector's editions comes, and you're getting the whole first game, which is Kingdom Hearts 1.5 and 2.5, which is pretty cool when you think about it, as well as like a little keychain and such. But look at how much value is that, and that's only for $99.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Like, I mean, it makes more sense if the price was cheaper. If they sold this thing for $150, then yeah, dude, kick ass. Go.
That's how much the Halo 3 one was.
Yeah.
For a helmet.
You know, I mean, what else are they gonna throw in there, guys? A season pass?
Oh God, please don't even get me started.
Yeah, that's what everybody else is doing. I mean, I think it was Gears of War 3. I believe you got like an in-game
or Judgment.
No, it was Gears of War 3 where you got, I think it was a season pass. You got a really nice emblem. Couple of pre-order bonuses from the shop.
Yeah.
But it was only like $100, and you would get like a bunch of digital content plus a few tangible items and a season pass for like $100. Like, I mean, that's the sweet spot right there. $100.
True.
Keep it there.
True.
You know.
Around there, I think that's good. I mean, for this one, if it's $250, it better come with a toaster that cleans your butt for you or something. It better come with something Halo related. If not a Halo helmet, like a Master Chief helmet you could wear. Like, that was one of the things I was a little disappointed in the Halo 3 one, where you couldn't wear the helmet. And like, I know on IGN not so long ago, you know, Colin and Tim did an unboxing for a Mega Man helmet that came out. It was just like that little tiny one that you could just put on display, and it costs a pretty penny. It costs a lot of money. Right. So at that point, when you're talking that like that high amount of like, you know, that amount of value for like most of these collector's editions and stuff, there better be something in there that's like a really big thing for fans that allow either to be useful or, you know, functional, or just to really get your more value out of it rather than just putting it on a display mantle. Right. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like for this one, like if it's like this much money, give me a Master Chief helmet I could wear.
It's like you want to be that could go to conventions for Halloween. That's what I think that's what you're trying to say, is you want to be Master Chief for Halloween.
Oh, of course. Like, give me that. I could wear it at a convention. Or, you know, give me something else I could wear or do, you know, not just like a T-shirt, because I don't think anybody's paying $250 for a T-shirt. Wow. or look at the Call of Duty one. Remember that functional, like, RC car that they had?
That was pretty rad. That was cool.
What was that? That was like $199, right?
It wasn't $250.
It wasn't $250. I know that. I know it was cheaper, but it actually had an RC car you could actually drive around with, and it had like a whole spy thing with it, right?
Yeah, you got the night vision goggles also.
Yeah, the night vision goggles. Look at that. You're getting all that you can actually use somehow, even though you'll probably use it for like, what, like 10 minutes and such. but you're still able to be a little more functional. There's more value to it than just looking at it.
Yeah.
And that's what I think is really, you know, a big thing for a lot of collector's editions. Make it better for me to reward me as a fan and give me more for my value than just giving me something that's just going to be stoic. Or digital content, because I think even digital content only goes so far.
Right. And these days, like I said, what is it? A season pass, weapon skins, emblems, you know, avatar suits. There's only so much that they can do, so I really hope they change the way they're thinking in terms of collector's editions, and certainly put it towards the favor of individuals like us and the listeners out there who want really awesome things. If they're going to drop $250 on a collector's edition, you know, don't pay $250 for the sake of it being a collector's edition, you know,
because you're a Halo fan. Right. Like, don't have such crazy blind brand loyalty. And let me ask you, Pete, don't you think it's a little bit disingenuous of 343 to announce the price point without announcing what comes in it?
Yeah, it's certainly a marketing tactic right there. They want to get all the pre-orders in. They want to get as much money as they can, or at least the game shops want to get as many pre-orders as they can, because that helps their business, but it does very little for, you know, John Smith and Jane Doe. You know?
I'm just saying though, like, to me, like, I think I remember a couple other collector's editions that were announced at the end of last year. I think it was either Dark Souls 2 or like one of the Elder Scrolls ones or something like that, or even World of Warcraft, where they had a high price point, but at the same time where they announced the price point, they showed you everything that comes from that thing, and there was a lot.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Are you more interested in buying stuff once you know what's already in it? Or are you not that person who's going to go down to the store and pre-order it because someone said you can pre-order the collector's edition?
I wouldn't pre-order the collector's edition now, knowing that I don't have any idea what comes in it. If they gave me some more, or even just outright told me what's going to come in it, then I would have maybe, you know, come up with a better informed decision, even if I was going to drop, you know, that much money on it anyway. like that because, you know, for example, I'd be such a big fan of Halo and such. If I'm going to drop money on that, I think it's much more better for them, and it actually puts a little bit much more trust and faith into the fans of the series, you know, from the company, and vice versa. If they just told us, you know, what's in it, rather than just the price point, and that's what's going to be the legendary edition of Halo 5.
So, I mean,
you know,
let me ask you this. Would you buy a collector's edition of, let's say, Final Fantasy 15? Right? They say, hey, we have a collector's edition of Final Fantasy 15. We're not going to tell you what's in it, but you do get the demo to Kingdom Hearts 3. Then would you buy it for $250?
No.
You wouldn't?
No, I would not. I mean, I'm such a big fan of Kingdom Hearts, and granted, however, if it's that much money and if it's that a collector's edition, I have to pre-order that, because keep in mind, those expensive pre-orders for those collector's editions, you have to drop like $50 to $100 on it just to pre-order it. It's like, it's the same equivalent if you're putting $5 on a game to pre-order it, but you're spending a lot more. You know, you're committing to that. So at that point, I would be like, no. And if they told me what comes in it, and if I was impressed, and it came with the Kingdom Hearts 3 demo, then I'd be like, okay, yeah, then I'm in. But if they're gonna do it like this, then I'd be like, no. I don't think that's a smart thing to do, because you're almost going in blind. What if you do this, right? And granted, you could cancel your pre-order and such, but what if you do this and all of a sudden the collector's edition sucks and there's like hardly anything in it? That would be really terrible.
There's like a sticker that says "Gotcha" or something.
I mean, granted, you could cancel your pre-order. Okay, that's common sense. You could do that, or you could put it towards something else, and that's fine. But, like, you know, it's just a waste of my time, and it's just like, okay, I don't, you know, you're setting yourself up to possibly be disappointed going in blind like that.
Yeah. Well, you know, that's why you got to do research, I guess, on the product before you go down to the store.
Or better yet, you know, company has to be a little bit much more upfront and honest with us if they want us to commit so badly to a $250 price tag.
Yeah, well,
that's just, I'm just saying. With that being said, though, let's go to another question. Actually, this one's not actually a question. It's actually a comment from our friend over Ali Al-Sahi.
Hey, Ali.
Who's a listener, and that's pretty cool. So he wrote us an essay, so bear with me, guys, okay? So he goes, hello, JJ, Pete, and all the listeners. He goes, I want to start with my 2014 gaming memories before moving to my 2015 wishes. I got my PS4 in January. A Nintendo Entertainment System in November. Feels good to play childhood games again. And the Xbox One in December. I also attended IGN's an IGN convention that was held in my country and had the chance to meet Naomi Kyle and Troy Baker. My favorite moment was meeting Troy and getting him to sign my copy of Middle-earth: Shadow of Mordor, which is my favorite game that I played this year. I have played more than 35 games this year, which I think is the most I've ever played, and it was a rich gaming experience for me this year. Sadly, toward the end, I had less time to play because of the nature of my job, but hopefully that will get fixed by the end of January. Let's move on to 2015. Yes, like we're all moving on to 2015. I hope to see more great indie games. I hope that games still get physical releases for two reasons. One, I like having physical copies on my shelf, and two, internet speed. And I hope publishers don't publish their games until they are 100% tested, patched, and ready to be played. Thank you.
Tell them,
Besides
Ollie.
me,
Tell
them, preach, Ollie. Because I'm hoping that I will get to meet Troy Baker again and have more time to chat with him. And I'm looking forward and planning to visit IGN sometime next year. Oh, that's pretty cool. Nice. That's pretty awesome. I want to keep it short. I still have more to share, but I feel like it's already going along an email. It's like, don't worry about it. It's okay.
Let it out.
You can write us essays, guys. We appreciate you. We appreciate your essays, guys. You want to write us a research paper? Go ahead. Don't actually write us a research paper, but just, you know, you're welcome to do so.
Yeah. We'll still
read
it.
Yeah, we'll still read it because we're humble and we're grateful for all the stuff that you send us.
Absolutely.
So finally, I wish a happy new year to you and all the listeners. Toward a better year full of improvements to the podcast, please put all of your passion into making these episodes today, since it has been a great start. See ya and regards, Ali Asahi. Awesome. Yes, you pronounced it right in the 4th episode. Oh, well, thank you a ton, Ali. We'll keep making the episode. We'll keep making the podcast awesome. Yeah, you know, we'll keep working hard for you, man. Just for you, Ali. Just for you. And finally, our last question comes again from Caleb Nall, our winner of our Tomb Raider figure giveaway. Okay, he goes, "Hey again, guys." He goes, "I remember on the first episode you said you both were freelance writers. As I'm in a university to become a journalist, I was wondering how you become journalists." I'm dying here.
Caleb's email, it almost killed JJ.
Yeah, I know, right? I was wondering how you became a journalist and if you have any tips for us hopefuls out there. Stay epic, Caleb. No. Hey, stealing my catchphrases.
Oh, man.
No, that's actually, he's off to a great start doing that because you want to emulate people that you take example from, which is good.
Very good. Yeah, turn it into a positive.
So, yeah, right? So, let me ask you, Peter, you know, being a freelance writer, being a journalist and such, you know, how did you kind of get into it, and, you know, what are some tips that you could give to the noobs out there?
Sure. So I just basically started doing it. I just started blogging. My blogs turned into reviews. They turned into opinion pieces and news articles, and I really just gravitated towards writing news. So I mean, I review games every now and then, but I'm more of a news freelancer. But I just did it. I read books. Definitely read. If you're not reading, you should. It doesn't make any sense to be a writer and you're not reading. And reading also helps you learn other perspectives and learn how other people write, and that can help you out with your writing. But I just started doing it, you know. Start a blog, start a website. It's super easy. Things are free nowadays. Blog on IGN. Definitely read other people's blogs. And I also wrote a little helpful blog on tips for freelance writers or aspiring freelance writers. So definitely check that out on my my IGN blog, Awaken Hero. But
Nice.
just do it, dude. Just write. You guys are writing because you want to write, not because it's a chore. And the minute I think you forget that you're writing for fun, you need to kind of stop, take a break, and do something else, and go back to it as soon as you remember that you're doing it to have fun. So that's kind of how I did it. Just go out and do it. Read books.
Very true. Very, very true, man. I mean, it's very important, you know, to understand that. I think, you know, Greg and crew of, you know, since we mentioned them earlier, they've said that before in the past. Greg specifically has said it many times. Do it because you love it. You know, even if you put something out there, whether it's an editorial or a video or a podcast, and it doesn't get a lot of, like, you know, notoriety at first, just keep on doing it almost every single day. Like that. You're not doing it for views. You're not doing it for popularity. You're doing it to get that experience, and you're doing it to kind of hone your craft and actually become a master of your craft through multiple repetitions of you doing it and putting it out there. You know, but like Peter said, you know, reading is a really good thing. You know, read people's, you know, editorial work and different types of like articles that they put out there, you know, stuff, people that you could take example from, you know, pick up little things about their writing. Like, it can help you develop your own unique voice, which I think is very important now, and like it's like one of the key things for people that are looking to work in this industry. You have to have your own voice, while at the same time still definitely know what you're talking about, and also still be able to kind of work within the confines of what makes, you know, good editorial work, and actually what makes good structure to some of your ideas that you present. I mean, it's good to have good form, but then take that form and actually not invent, but like, you know, play with it with your own style and actually have fun with it. That's what makes it enjoyable, at least for someone like me, where, again, I read a lot of editorials on IGN. I read a lot of editorials on a ton of other websites. You know, I said before, someone like Colin was like my inspiration and one of my role models for actually getting into writing about games and such, and just reading his editorials, learning about, you know, how he actually approaches, you know, games writing, games reviews and such like that, or what makes him tick about different stuff about video games. That's interesting for me to write. I'm not write to read about and actually, you know, learn about and such, and it helps me approach, and actually gives me different ideas of how to approach things differently here or there, or approach things, you know, in a similar fashion, you know, about video games. And it helps me, you know, develop myself as a writer, develop my own voice, and develop my craft, you know, over time. Which I think is a big deal. A lot of aspiring, you know, writers, I guess you could say, or freelance writer, because they say freelance writers and such, but, you know, the way you should come out and say it, like they even say it on that freelance gaming podcast, that, you know, you're a writer. Yeah, you're not a freelancer. You're just a writer.
Don't say aspiring
you have to look
anymore,
at it.
guys. You're not an aspiring writer. You guys are writers.
You say aspiring, then we all have permission to chuck a chair at you. There will be no aspiring here. It'd be so mean, right? Yeah. But still, like, you want to approach it where you have confidence in your work, your abilities, and what you present to different people, you know, and you're going to always get that different type of criticism, both good and bad. You have to expect that. You can't get down about it. You can't get upset and get discouraged just because some people might not like what you have to say, may not agree with you, or may not, you know, like the way that you've done things. But you keep doing it. You keep putting yourself out there. You keep throwing yourself on the pyre, and eventually not only is something going to hit, but you're going to become a master of your craft over time.
Right, and don't be scared scared to ask questions too, guys. You know, it's not like we're scared of losing our jobs. Every freelance writer that you talk to, I would say maybe 8 out of 10, they're gonna be helpful. They're gonna, you know, they're gonna be cool. They're gonna be cool. And if you guys haven't checked it out yet, check out Nathan Minier's The Freelance Guide to Game Journalism, and Dan Amrich's Critical Path: How to Review
Mandatory reading.
Definitely check those books out. They're on Amazon. And feel free to ask Jake, James, and I any questions that you guys have. That's why we're here. We're here for you guys. Don't be scared to ask questions, and that's definitely something you should take with you on your travels in the game journalism adventure.
Yeah, I mean, that's very important, though, to open that dialogue, to ask questions. Like, it's not like, you know, a lot of people always think, you know, whether they're put out there and they're a game journalist or they run a podcast and stuff, like it's a bad thing to ask questions or like you're bothering the person. That's never really the case. Even if you just go up, like perfect example. I went to my first E3 this year, right? And I saw Kotaku's Stephen Totilo hanging out at a Starbucks. The guy was just hanging out at a Starbucks, and you know, I wanted to go up and say hello to him. But I had a little bit of kind of like, you know, that nervousness because you just looked at Steven Totilo and he looks like he wanted to kill somebody. Like, in that instance, then maybe you want to use good judgment.
Right.
You know, he looked like he was about to flip a table. But, so I put it, so I was a little clever. I put it on Twitter. I was like, you know, I saw Steven Totilo over here and I was going to go say hello and say how cool he is, but he looked like he wanted to kill somebody. And then he responds back, he goes, it was because you didn't come over and say hello to me.
Oh, man.
You know, it was funny, but you know, there's that opportunity for that open communication. Just even saying hello and just saying, hey, what's up? You know, I love your work, or I follow your work, or just ask them questions, stuff. It's always a good thing. So, I mean, for us even, we have all these different outlets and means for you guys to ask us stuff. You know, between leaving comments on the posts on my IGN when we post up the podcast, hitting us up on Twitter, and then hitting us up on the email at allstarpod@hotmail.com. I mean, if you guys have any questions or any sort of comments about what we do or about getting into the industry or just approaching writing and stuff, just shoot it over to us. You know, we don't mind.
Yeah.
It's cool. We get pleasure out of like actually talking with you guys and interacting with you guys and actually, you know, discussing games or discussing cool, fun stuff. It's just fun to us.
Yeah. That's why we're doing this.
Heck yeah. So, but, you know, we've come to the point where it's time to wrap things up. You know, that's all our listener questions. Thanks to everybody that sent us listener questions and, you know, comments and such. You know, everybody that was mentioned on here. And again, congratulations to Caleb to winning the figure, the Tomb Raider figure. That's pretty awesome. You're our first winner of ever giveaway, you know, that we've done. So hopefully, you know, you get a kick out of having that figure displaying on your wall.
Send us a picture too, Caleb, on our Twitter feeds, and we'll definitely post it on our All-Star Pod Twitter account, and we'll see if Jake James could throw that up on the my IGN site.
Oh, of course. Of course, yeah. Shoot it over to us on Twitter. Remember, you can reach me at VenomousFatman1 and Pete.
Pete_Lopez with a 0 in the Lopez.
Yeah, you can reach us there. Or again, shoot it over to the All-Star Twitter account. It's All-Star Pod on Twitter. That's at All-Star Pod on Twitter. So, again, we come to the end of the first episode of 2015, Pete.
Yeah. How do you like 2015 so far?
it's all right. It's a little rocky, you know. We had that nut punching, that gut wrenching news earlier today, but hey, I think it's good. I think that this is a sign for big changes over the course of the year. Big horizons, you know, cool bright horizons, cool treasures and such. It's gonna be awesome. I think it's gonna be fun.
Yeah, I'm excited. I can't wait. I'm looking forward to episode 50 and episode 100.
So we hit episode 50. I'm flipping a table. I'm telling you, we reach episode 100. I swear to God, I'm buying pizza for everybody.
Yeah, we gotta do like a live show or something.
A giant pizza party for episode 100. The IGN All-Star Community Podcast. That'd be amazing. We do that. Oh man, that'd be sweet.
We got to do it in the office of IGN. Oh, that'd be awesome.
Oh, what? Show up to IGN and be like, "Hey guys, we're bringing pizza." First they're gonna be like, "What are you doing here?" They'll be like, "Dude, what kind of pizza is that?" It's good. Then God forbid we put like the wrong type of pizza. We get them like Hawaiian pizza or something. They're like, "No, sorry, you guys gotta go."
Nobody likes Hawaiian pizza.
No, I love Hawaiian pizza. What? I love Hawaiian pizza. Pineapple on pizza is actually really good with bacon. Yes, or ham. Yes, I'm in. But Thanks again, guys, for listening to this episode of the IGN All-Star Community Podcast. You know, this has been a great episode 5. We'll be back again next week for you guys. Hope you guys get a kick out of it. Remember, you can write into the podcast at allstarpod@hotmail.com. Leave us a comment on my IGN or send us a tweet over at allstarpod on Twitter. And we will talk to you guys again soon. Peace out and stay epic, everybody.
Peace.